Good morning everybody, thanks for joining me again. Well, it's 6:30 in the morning and the sun is up already. It's sort of mid-June and getting towards the longest day of the year, so I wasn't going to get up early for sunrise, I'm afraid. But it is a lovely morning here on Dartmoor. I'm up near Combestone Tor, just walked down across the moor, trying to take some photos of the birds. But what I'm actually trying to do is go down to the stepping stones on the West Dart, just over there. My only problem today is there's a herd of cows with some calves down here, and don't think I'm going to get past them just yet. I don't know if you can see from here, but there's a herd of cows both sides of the fence, lots of young calves and mothers. The mothers are bellowing away, so I'm not even going to attempt to get close to them. So, plan B, let's go to Horsford Cross instead, which is the other way, and then maybe try back here later. As you can see, I'm not going to attempt to walk past them. So with a change of plan, I'm going to head, I don't know if you can see it, up the valley, just over there. Saddle bridges down at the bottom there, and then following Brook, the valley goes up there. Now the cross I want to get to is on the far side of the valley there. It's only about 3 or 4 feet high, so I'm not able to see it from here. But let's try and trace this side of the valley without going too far down, then find a crossing further up and see if we can find this cross, shall we? It's really bright blue skies, a little bit of cloud, but not great for photography. But I'm hoping when I get to the cross I can make some sort of dramatic, maybe black and white photo in its harsh light. Let's go and see. Well, I've been to this area lots of times before, but it's amazing, by just taking a few steps down a different route, you get a completely different vista. Just looking down this valley towards the tors on the horizon, really nice. Maybe not a photograph today with that blue sky. And I'm still only a stone's throw from the road. Okay, let's carry on, see if we can find this cross. Doesn't look like it's going to be easy. There's quite a lot of livestock on the moor now, and I'm using their tracks to find my way. There's no actual footpath just here. But what a view. So it's turning into a bit of an adventure. I'm about halfway between the road and where I think I can cross the brook. To start with, I thought the track that runs along just across opposite from me was where the cross would be, so it wasn't very far away, but I was wrong. I was just checking the map, and the path I want is actually almost on the top of that hill over there, so quite some way round yet. Still not far. So yeah, let's keep going. Even though it's bright, it's a little bit of a chill, but had to take the jacket off. Lovely morning. I don't know though that there's going to be much photography just yet. I've carried on up the valley and come to a section where the brook is narrowing, and I'm sure I'll come to the horse ford soon. Sorry, my glasses are steaming up here. Quite humid still. Just met a lovely family, a couple with 2 children, just camping up here on the moor. It's so great that you can still wild camp in a stunning place like this. And great for the kids just to appreciate this. Just walking along trying to find a place to cross, and you know how I always see some alternative views. There's lots of little cascades coming down here, but not seen anything really special yet. They'd all make good photographs, especially with a long exposure. But then I saw this little collection of boulders down here. Let me show you. Now, not the most obvious shot, I guess, but what attracted it to me were these grasses clinging onto the top of this boulder here, and if you get them right, they're in that black piece of water there, and then you've got this little arrangement of rocks. I'm not going to cross on this one, which I could, I guess, but don't want to disturb that poor little piece of grass hanging on there. But anyway, I thought this might make a nice square or 4x5 shot, and although there's not a lot of water movement around it, long exposure, maybe make that very smooth and just highlight that arrangement. Let's give that a go, shall we? So I'm going to put a 10-stop ND filter on first, probably get 20 to 30 seconds exposure. The grass is moving very slightly, so that's going to be blurred, so I'll do a faster exposure just for that, and then see if I can stick some together in post. If it's any good, and it's going to be a bit alternative. Let's have a look at the shot, shall we? Well, please let me know what you think of the image in the comments below. Does it work? I'm not sure really. I do like the image. I like the composition of the rocks. I actually like the colour. I like the quite blue colour to the water. The square crop works well with the composition, and it's always good to try something a little bit different. So lots of cascades, as I said, on this trip. This one I quite like, and from up here it looks quite nice. You can see the water running down, nice overhanging gnarly tree, but a bit sort of empty on this side of the shot. Not the greatest. Sun is out. It does, a cloud every now and again goes over and gives me a bit of shade. So what I think I'm going to do is take just the camera and the ND filter down by the side of the brook there and see if I can get a better shot closer to the water, and hopefully I don't fall in. Well, before we move on, I just wanted to show you some of the raw files that I took. I haven't adjusted these images at all. They're taken with the same settings. The camera is just still on the tripod, and all you have is the changing light. Just wanted to illustrate how important it is to be aware of the light and the changing conditions. So I'm not sure if this is going to work. Managed to get down here, but it's very bright. I'm just waiting for a cloud which might come along. I've got a variable ND filter on that goes up to 5 stops and a polariser, and I'm managing a 2-second exposure. Might actually take that down to 1 actually. Also, I'm struggling with these ferns that are close to the camera just down here. They're moving slightly as well, so at 2 seconds you can just see the blurred. Okay, let's mess around with this and see what we make. So I didn't get to film that, unfortunately, just a bit too precarious, but I was lucky. The sun just went in for a second, as you can see, just behind a cloud, and I think I've got some half decent shots. Not the greatest, but let's see what they look like. No, they're not going to win any prizes, but do quite like them. This first one, you can see the ferns down in the bottom left, slightly blurred, and there's not much to the cascade. Would have liked a little bit more white water, but it's not a bad composition. I do like the gnarly tree in the background. This next one, I've tried to make more of a feature of the water and the tree, excluded that fern on the left. I think this is a little bit more balanced. Both of these shots are very colourful. Not the thing I normally like to take. I like a little bit less colour and black and white, but not bad. So just come across the brook, had to put all the camera gear away because it was just a bit too sketchy, and it's glorious up here, so peaceful, just the birds, and almost immediately I cross the river. I get the first glimpse of the cross on the top of the hill behind me. There are what looks like some stone buildings of some sort as well, so I'm just going to stop and have a quick look at those and head up to the cross. Well, this building I mentioned isn't a building at all. Looks like part of the old tin works that happened all around this area of Dartmoor. Looks like a ramp affair, so it must have been for pulling up wagons and tipping the ore into the top. And then there must be a trackway here somewhere to take it back down to the, I was going to say main road, but to some better transport. Really peaceful, as I said, so I'm going to just stop for a second and have a drink and then carry on up to the cross. Even though it's midsummer and very hot up here, this terrain is very boggy still, so it's going to take me a little bit of time to get up there. It may be a small cross, but it's in a lovely location. I can probably photograph this from all angles and put something in the background. You can see a bit of a cloudy sky now with some blue. If I did that in black and white and then darken the blues, that would make a nice moody shot. Then I've got the hills behind me here. get the right height so the cross is either above the horizon or under. And of course the sun is way up in the sky there, casting shadow this way, so this is the dark side of the cross. Don't think I'm going to get much from the bright side unless I can get that dark sky behind it. So let's get the camera on the tripod and start looking for shots. Been wandering around with the camera handheld. Don't think I need to put it on a tripod, to be honest. All the grasses are blowing. If I did a long exposure, I maybe could get some movement in the sky. Maybe I'll try that, I don't know. But for now I'm just going to go around with it handheld. The shots I've taken so far, I think I've been a bit too close, so I'm going to back off a bit, get a bit more space around the cross, and of course I can always crop it in later. So at the moment I've got it on f11, ISO 100, 200ths of a second, and yeah, let's take some more and then maybe consider a long exposure, and we'll see what that looks like too. Well, I'm going to show you just some images I took from all around the cross really. The light was changing very quickly and I was having to change the shutter speed to adjust for it. You can see that the cross is stuck between two boulders basically, and this little collection of rocks around the cross you can use as foreground from different angles. With this one you can see how the cross is wedged between the two boulders, and they've used quite a liberal amount of cement to hold the cross in. But I do like this line leading you up, even though the cross was not face on. And I took shots from the shadow side like this one. Again, you can see these little collection of rocks you can use just to frame the cross. And standing back a little bit more, you can see with all of the images so far I've kept the cross below the horizon. This one, it gets a little bit lost in the landscape with the bright area behind. And then some I've turned into black and white. This one I've got a little bit lower. I like the collection of the rocks in this sort of perspective with the cross just poking over the horizon. It works because the cross is on the horizon. This one I've got much lower. The camera's almost on the ground, looking up, trying to exclude the hillside behind and just use the clouds. And obviously you can see the blues of the skies I've turned all the way down to almost black. And then those of you who follow me know I like a letterbox shot, so from a little distance from the cross I could see Sharp Tor in the background and the other tors beyond, and the layered effect looked really nice. So I thought I'd just do a quick time lapse to see how fast the clouds are moving, which has made me decide that a long exposure of this is not going to work. It's taken at 4 times normal speed, a 1.5 minute clip. Clouds didn't really move that far, so if I want a nice streaked effect and all the grasses as well, With this bright sunlight, I don't think I'm going to do it, even if I put on all my ND filters. The contrast between the sky and the ground of the cross are going to be just too much. So I think I'm going to stop filming from here and then move on back towards the car, which is in that direction, I hope. Time to get the map and compass out. So while we're watching a little bit of film of the cross, let me tell you a little bit about its history and the route I took. So I started at Combestone Tor car park. As you saw at the beginning, was planning to walk down to the stepping stones but couldn't, so took the route up the old brook towards the Horseford. As you can see, I went past that, following the brook until I found an easier place to cross. It's very boggy and the ground is pretty unpredictable up there. So I then took the route directly up the hill towards the cross and towards the old disused mine workings. And then it was an easier route back, although longer, along the good trackway that goes around Downridge back to the road and then back down to Saddlebridge and back up to Combestone Tor. So the cross is one of a number of crosses that marks the route of the Monk's Path. This is an ancient name given to the track that links Buckfast Abbey with those of Tavistock and Buckland. The path takes a slightly more northerly route than the more commonly known Abbott's Way. Now the cross is not in its original position. It went missing and was probably originally closer to Horseford. It was found by a local labourer in 1884, partly buried in the turf and heather and hardly recognisable. Anyway, it was repaired, as you can see, with these iron clamps and erected in its current position slightly further up the hill on Downridge. Well, I think I'm going to call it a day. That was a much longer walk than I thought. I'm almost back, although I've got to follow this track which peters out by the looks of it, back to the road. I could go straight down the hill here, the road's only just there, but I can see a fence at the bottom, so I'll follow the track, then I'll have to walk all the way back up to the top there where Combestone Tor and where the car is, so maybe a couple of miles yet. But it's been a nice walk. I wanted to go and see Horseford Cross for a while, so mission accomplished. Sorry for the plane going over. So if you enjoyed this week's video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost anything, and hopefully I'll see you somewhere soon. But for now, cheerio. Well, don't go just yet. I think I have next week's video. On my way back to the car, I had to walk over Saddlebridge, so I've just stopped for another drink and found a very interesting map showing me the route to the stepping stones. In fact, a circular route over both sets. So maybe that's the video for next week. Anyway, for now, cheerio.